Hello and welcome back to Big Mouth. Fancy seeing you here. So let me tell you who and what Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall are to Doctor Who fans. And I'm not talking about the people who dropped out of their mother's vagina during the season 11 premiere. I'm talking about real Doctor Who fans. You know, there's always that couple that gatecrash a nightclub or a party. So Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall are these gatecrashers, and they think they're so cool and beautiful, and they think they're better than everyone. And Chris Chibnall is putting his arms around all the minorities and all the women, telling them he's a friend of them. But he's basically giving all the white men the finger and saying, you're all assholes. So all the white men are saying to Chris Chibnall, but you're white as well. But I'm superior to you. I'm nice and you're all evil. And especially you white men in your 40s, you're horrible, evil, toxic people. And we're going to teach you how to be better people. But it isn't good enough for Jodie and Chris, the cool couple who have just gatecrashed, to try and change the decor of the nightclub and the kind of music of the nightclub. So you've got this really banging hardcore music that all the youth are listening to. Nah, they don't want that. They've got this new age music that actually preaches and teaches young people, but the young people don't like it. So the young people just leave. They leave this nightclub because they hate it. It's crap. It's shit. It's boring because it's all about education. No drugs allowed. People can't kiss. People can't shag in the toilets. It's the shittest, most boringest nightclub in the world. And this is what Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker have literally done to Doctor Who. But that isn't enough for them. No. Still, Jodie Whittaker had to come, thanks to the BBC and their agenda, on children in need and sit there with an ill child and take advantage of that situation to push hers, Chris Chibnall's, and the BBC's agenda. But no, that wasn't enough. She sat there with a kid, all cutesy and chilled out, and said, when I was a girl, I had to sit on the sidelines while all the boys played and pretended they were male characters because there weren't action type of female characters when I was a kid. So let's just, for a minute, let's just try and assume she's about 30. Let's say she was born around 1988. Let's say around that time. Now, I can't exactly put my finger on what was around that time, but let me tell you what was around him. I was born in 1972. So I remember Ripley in Alien, right? And Aliens, right? I remember Sarah Connor in both Terminator films. I remember a little sci-fi show called V in the 80s. You had a kick-ass female villain and you had a kick-ass hero called Julie Parrish who was kicking alien butt. You had Jill Gascoigne as Maggie Forbes, not only in The Gentle Touch, but then in a spin-off called Cat's Eyes. And that, Jodie, is just for starters. I can go on. And if we go away from female action heroes, we had Jodie Foster's Sarah Tobias in a wonderful film called The Accused, about a woman being raped and what it's like to be raped and being the accuser becoming the accused. That's why the film was called. So there were so many great things. Now, I'm not going to say that our attitudes towards women when I was growing up were great. They wasn't. They were literally just sexual objects. But do you know what? If you go to Instagram, what are women now? Sexual objects, because they're making themselves sexual objects. But the difference is now they can turn around and say, oh, wow, it's my right as a female to show off my form, and I shouldn't be perved on by men. But that's our biology. If I see you in your knickers and bra on Instagram, I'm going to screenshot the picture and go in the toilet for 5 minutes. But look, I'm getting diverted. So literally, Jodie Whittaker goes on this long tangent about boo-hoo, 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 boo-hoo. When I was a girl, I couldn't play. Well, hang on, why couldn't you just pretend to be one of the male characters? But there were female characters around. In fact, in the late 80s and early 90s, that's when they started this kind of trend of female leads. But a lot of those films didn't really work out. But it became a thing. So at the end of the day, this BS about how she sat on the sidelines So, and this is what I mean. It's just an agenda, people. It's just literally, right? Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall are pissing in our Doctor Who pond that we were quite happy with. Yes, there were many issues with Chris Chibnall. I mean, Stephen Moffat, I can't even get their names right anymore. I've got him in my throat again. But literally, right, it's so pathetic to turn on children in need. And it's bad enough that Jodie Whittaker and the BBC are taking advantage of a sick child to move their agenda, right? It's things like that. It's things like that that muddy the waters, because you want us to embrace you, Jodie, as a great doctor, which you're not, by the way, because you and your mate Chris, who have come into this nightclub and changed everything. You've made it educational, like I've already said. You've tried to make it a more placid experience, and you're ruining it. Nobody's going to your nightclub anymore. So when you first opened your nightclub, Jodie and Chris, literally everyone went in there. About 8 million people went in there. Then about 1 million people said, "Sod this is shit." So they left, right? And then they watched your second episode. And then another 1 million left, right? And they said, "Well, this is shit," right? Then we had Rosa, which was kind of a really good, strong episode. So people came back to the nightclub just a little bit, not as much as the first time they went to the nightclub. And then after Rosa, kind of a few more people went because they heard all the hot chicks go to this club. Rosa was like the hot chick. That episode was like a hot chick going to a nightclub, and so everyone came back to it, right? But then after that one, people started getting bored, and it dropped again, and people stopped. Like, only just over 5 million people go to that nightclub now because they want to still give it a chance. They want to still pretend it's a great happening nightclub, and that's what Doctor Who is now. But when you've got the star of the show going on a charity event and talking absolute horseshit about her youth and how she had to sit on the sidelines, you being on Doctor Who can't be about that. You're on Doctor Who. You're there now. You can be an inspiration for young girls and young boys, for everyone, but you're not being an inspiration. All you're doing, you're literally, Jodie, you are an oxygen thief. You don't even believe in what you're saying. For you, it's a job. You don't care about Doctor Who or its legacy. And the truth is, Chris Chibnall, who's a self-professed Doctor Who fan, doesn't care about Doctor Who and its legacy. All you care about is spewing your political garbage and poisoning young people's minds, and worse, boring us all to death. By the way, do enjoy Doctor Who tonight. I hear the club's not going to be packed.